We're counting down to Operation Nemesis. I am CCP Monty, joined today by, by CCP Collins and CCP Rattati. And guys, there is something I have to tell you to begin with. So, for some reason, whenever we meet and we start talking about Vanguard, it's all about violence. It's all about shooting people, and sometimes that is not what we need during our day. So hereby I forbid any discussions on combat. Today's topic is about everything that is not combat in Operation Nemesis. And well, maybe just to kick it off, what the hell do I do in a first-person shooter if I'm not shooting people?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, but usually if I'm not shooting people, they're shooting me.
Yeah.
And I don't really enjoy that part.
In Operation Nemesis, there's definitely going to be shooting involved, right?
You've already...
I've already done it. I'm sorry. That's it. But
Strike one.
Strike one, yeah. But there is lots to do and ways to avoid getting shot at. So the thing that drives EVE Vanguard, much as it drives New Eden, are resources. And to move through the game, to get more powerful, to get more stuff, you are going to need resources. You get that, you can scavenge that. You can find little crates or boxes or panels that you can, cut open with your beam cutter. Or you can find mining seams that you use your beam cutter on as well, and you get raw resources from that. You can go down to the surface of the planet, do those things, do some scavenging, find some crates, mine some resources, and then just haul out. And that is totally fine, because that's a pretty good run. You've got some resources there, and then what you do when you're back out of deployment, you are going into the blueprint market and you're buying blueprints. Right, I want to buy a new, I won't say weapon.
Mining chipset.
Yeah, you're mining a new mining chipset.
Because that's who we are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's who we are. We don't like to fight. So we're buying mining chipsets to make our beam cutter more effective. It can now get more resources from it, or it's quicker, or it's more effective. So I'm buying a blueprint for those chipsets for my beam cutter, and then the resources that I've got, that I've scavenged and that I've mined, I'm then putting into the fabricator to make that chipset. I've now put that chipset on my beam cutter. It's now more effective. I can now deploy down to the service and do what I did previously, just a lot more effective and a lot faster. And I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep doing that until my beam cutter is the best. It has all of the high-level chipsets on it. It can now just mine as effectively as it can be for me, and now everyone is going to want my services because I am the person that mines.
And there's a similar kind of idea about this as professions in a sandbox MMO or classic MMOs even. It's basically skinning or harvesting or whatever. You go do that thing and then you level up, and now you can do the next one up. If you've noticed in the ore deposits, there is a layer on top that is easy to get to, but there's deeper layers. There's harder ore to actually mine, so you actually need to level up your chipsets, your mining cutter to get to that stuff. So there's actually just a little bit of progression inside of the mining profession right now.
Yeah, and map knowledge as well is really, really important. That's something that will it's part of the progression, this untracked kind of mental progression that you'll have to go through, which is knowing where the mining deposits are on the different maps, knowing where you can scavenge.
And how talk us a little bit about that. I mean, it's getting closer. Operation Nemesis kicks off on September 16th, so not that far now.
No.
I think this is an interesting topic: map knowledge. How would you kind of explain what the player actually needs to go through to gain this knowledge? Is that more about, oh, I remember that there's always a spawn around these kind of places, or is this something that I can, beforehand go and strategically plan by looking at the map and kind of seeing how the world is?
Yeah, there's lots of emergent different things that can happen, and we're constantly trying to make things feel a bit more dynamic, so that the world doesn't feel like it's always the same every single time, because that can get quite repetitive and that can get quite boring. We want there to be a bit of spice in that something's happened that you haven't expected, and PvP is a part of that as well, right? You know, like I'm avoiding combat, so I see a bunch of players over at a point that, you know, or a choke point that I need to travel through. I now need to find another path around. Knowing that path around, knowing what threats are likely to be there, and knowing actually on the way, maybe I've discovered something I didn't see before. You know, on our Solstice map, there's it took me a long while to discover this. 3 layers deep through some salvage is like an empty kind of hollowed out cave that is like a I'd like to say a gold mine. It's a mine. It's a resource mine, and it's got all these different resource deposits in. And it's fantastic because it's quite cut off. It's quite, I'm not worried. It's not on a throughput, so I'm not worried about getting, you know, third-partied while I'm trying to do my stuff. So I just put down a motion detector just in case, and I can just mine there. And I only discovered that naturally. Now that's part of my map knowledge. I know that's now. So I'm knowing, right, if I need to do a mining run, I'm going to go on that map. I'm going to bomb for that area. I know the routes that I need to take to avoid enemies. I know the common kind of chokeholds where a lot of PvP is happening. I know where the activities are likely to spawn, where players are going to circulate around. So I can avoid those, pick those routes. I now know these things, and I know how to get into that area to mine those things. I know what things I need on me to make me more effective as a miner, right? Whether that's upgrading my beam cutter, or that's taking things like being able to place mines down or take motion detectors. You know, akin to always playing as a sniper in Call of Duty, right? You always carry your claymores. You always cover your 6, right? And it's stuff like that. Like, I'm not here to shoot people. I'm here to mine these resources, but I always got to cover my 6. I can't hear someone creeping up behind me with a beam cutter's going off. So I need to put down a motion detector. I need to place mines at all of the different entrances. And, you know, I know I'm not combat oriented, but if someone's going to creep up on me without paying attention, I'm going to get a cheeky little kill.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I actually think this is a really interesting part of the whole discussion, of the whole kind of just world that Vanguard is, and everything that kind of gets summarized in the extraction shooter bit, because I think in many ways when that discussion comes around, and it's something that very often sticks to it, people forget this whole MMO part, which is the same as you would do in every single MMO that I at least have played. You know, let's just look at EVE Online. I go out of my ship, I go somewhere, I get something, and I bring it back to be able to do something with it. In many ways, I did an extraction by getting back home safely.
From safety, out, back to safety.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's kind of the interesting bit that I feel like is a little bit missing in that whole discussion, where it's like, this is an MMO, and this is very much at the heart of an MMO experience. It's going out exploring, finding, bringing those findings back to safety to progress your character, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think like a lot of modern extraction shooters are very combat oriented, and the playstyles around them are kill or be killed.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's not the case in our game. The playstyles that we're building this playground around are the playstyles you will more commonly find in an MMO. Like, you know, reset the clock. Scott's going to talk about the Bartle taxonomy on player types again, but I won't go into too much detail on it because I ramble on about it too much. But there are, you know, the type of playstyles that exist in a multiplayer sandbox and MMO. We're leaning into those playstyles more, and some of them aren't strictly about kill or be killed. They're about, you know, achieving or in our case, industrialization, or something we hope to flesh out later, a bit more about exploration. It's not about imposing yourself over other players or enemies. It's about imposing yourself or being imposed by elements of the environment and the world. And that's very MMO. It's not always about what enemies you're killing or what players you're fighting. It's about the world, what you're exploring and what you're getting out of it. And I think just doing those industrial runs, that's not something I'm seeing in a lot of other strictly extraction shooters, right? Like we look at games that are, you know, are coming out in that genre. It is a go in and fight, and it's all about
it's a new take on just shooting each other, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also opportunities for collaboration. Like if you don't want to fight, you could have a friend that comes with you and helps you, like guard, safeguard, whatever. We also have this kind of building towards a future where you're actually collaborating inside your like social structure, and you're in charge of the ammo, you're in charge of the weapons, you're in charge of the armor, basically the kind of logistics. What do you call it? Kind of inventory keeper, just making sure that everyone's fitted, kitted. This is very EVE authentic, obviously. Like every big corporation, every serious alliance has a quartermaster.
Yeah,
that's just taking care of business, sourcing ships, modules, making them themselves, outsourcing, going to the market. And we can't have all of that gameplay without having the core gameplay. Just you can be a miner. You can strictly be a miner, and that's fine. And you can actually you can avoid combat. And I think the interesting thing that you mentioned is I don't think people are aware of these modules that you're talking about, these equipment types, motion detector, mines, like all of these are like staples of EVE Online, having some kind of like abilities that you can activate. Whether they're
kitting yourself out for a specific,
just making a loadout,
making
a loadout. But I don't think that people that have played the game in the past maybe just realize that these exist. Because we don't really force feed some of these things. We don't give them you can't buy them. You have to get the blueprint. It's very rare that you loot them because someone else had to make them. So there's has been a low discovery point on some of these, but there's a lot of tactical and strategic depth already just with a few of these equipment types.
So the emergent collaboration, that's the really exciting thing and something that we're really leaning into a lot. Like that was one of the reasons we added in proximity chat. I know some games are kind of leaning away from wanting that at the moment. For us, it was a no-brainer. Like lean into proximity chat. Like we already have loads of players in the game, like doing weird dances, right? Like jumping up and down or crouching up and down just to kind of communicate to another player in the world, like, hey, I'm not a threat right now. I'm not shooting you. You're here for one reason. I'm here for another reason. Let's just like agree to just do our own thing. And that normally happens a lot when you've got two people in two different play styles. One person is just like, I want to kill things. And one be like, dude, I'm just here to mine. just
don't.
Yeah, just don't leave me alone. Stand back. This whole place is filled with mines. For your own sake, stand back. And before the only way you could do that was just like equipping the mining laser, showing that you don't have a weapon ready and just like crouching up and down and hoping that they kind of understood. But now...
Can you just show us again?
Yeah.
So you equip the mining laser?
Equip the mining laser.
And then
crouch up and down. If you
a white flag, basically.
It's basically like a white flag. And but now
when I come across somebody on the street and he goes, I think, oh yeah, that's not a threat.
Yeah, every time I'm walking around London thinking these people are all here to kill me, unless they're
and have a mining laser.
Yeah, exactly. But we're adding in proximity chat, so now you can be like, dude, leave me alone. I'm not going to hurt you, and they can hear you, and they can be like, okay, all right, I'm going to leave this person alone. Or they, squad of 3 come, and you can beg for your life. You can be like, no, please, please don't kill me. I'm not a threat. Or you can just like, one of the things I'm hoping people start to do is create mega parties. I used to do this on PUBG all of the time. We realized that it was really easy to make sure you were all on the same server, even if you weren't in a squad together, because the squad maximum was 3, but there was like 15 of us at university. There was like 15 people at a LAN party, and we all kind of wanted to play. So if you all pressed matchmake at the same time, it was highly likely you were all going to end up on the same server. And then all you have to do is just find each other and then go, right, here's where we're dropping. And then you've got 15 people all in vehicles just like parading all over the map. That didn't have prox chat. I want there to be, because we have that squad limit size of 3 at the moment, I want people to be forming mega squads. Like 2 squads meeting each other on the field and going, hey, do you want to just like, meet up? Do you want to like, we'll go here, and hey, do you want to just like roam together? And then you just like, they find someone else and go like, you join us. And then eventually everyone on the map is just walking around together.
What am I seeing? Like, I'm seeing Forrest Gump in my head. just running.
With the run, yeah.
And then there's like loads of people behind him for no apparent reason. Like, I think I'll go home.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I'm looking forward to that. Proximity chat's going to add that. Like in future as well, we want to see how we can keep taking advantage of that, like what we call like emergent like socialization in the world, and like maybe eventually you can just add people to your squad.
Yeah, or just link squads.
Yeah, or just link squads. And then your objectives get tied together, right? If you're taking on a contract, you know, hey, let's do the contract together.
Yeah. We used to have queue sync. I'm not supposed to talk about Dust in this one, but we used to queue sync into faction warfare battles, just like to get like everyone on the Amar side and then everyone on the other side, and it worked a lot of the time. So yeah, you basically got kind of dedicated militia on both sides.
Nice.
If we look at the non-combat kind of activities you can do, we've touched on industry, we've touched on mining. I mean, logistics basically becomes a thing due to it. Salvaging, those kind of things. What is it that in Operation Nemesis we want people to really test out?
I think there's definitely a support gadget man type of thing you can absolutely do. You can have grenades. You can do things, basically just be kind of the equipment person. I think there's definitely you can do kind of master the shields and just kind of run like the deployable shield and that kind of stuff, and which is kind of really annoying if someone's fighting you who knows how to do it, because you can stab someone. No combat, but you can be stabbed within the shield.
We actually only talked about guns, so he really found the loophole there.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
Well done. You
stabbing.
found the
Yeah.
knives.
So there's that.
So somehow we're talking about mining and industry, and here we are stabbing.
No, yeah. Okay, building defenses against stabbing
Yeah.
would be the thing.
But the support player.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Classic
hey,
support. We don't have a medic, but we have the support.
Yeah, like people on my team are doing the killing. Like I might do a bit of killing, but they're doing the killing. I'm the guy, I've got the ammo stash, I've got the biomass, I'm the one with all the different devices. They're just there to simply just go and shoot things. But I think having that support play, in squad play, we haven't seen that a lot. So we've been trying to, the manufacturing's really going to help there. And I think, Rattati was right about showcasing more and bringing more to the front that these little gadgets that we've got and we've added to the game are there to support the playstyles.
Isn't it basically also in every single game that comes out? I mean, the whole logistics support thing does not really evolve until a few people start using it, and they basically become unbeatable because they've got it. And then this becomes the kind of meta because everybody wants to score the goal,
Yeah, this happened with Mercy, I think, in Overwatch, for example. Like there have been like there's a difficulty in balancing like pure healing or healing classes, for example. But I think a play style that we don't support yet, but I think it's an obvious one is logistics or classic healing. We had this in Dust, we have this in EVE, very EVE authentic. The Doctor, Team Fortress, basically just like following someone and healing them and being able to drop kits or whatever. So I think there's absolutely a non-combat operative role we can flesh out even more.
So again, touched on the mining, touched on the industry, touched on these things, but I would really want to understand what kind of progression. You touched on it earlier, you need to upgrade the chipsets on your mining laser, potentially go for a better mining laser and such in the future. But how big of a part in the whole kind of economy and I'm kind of trying to look at it from like an individual economy progression rather than like talking about an economy as a whole. So do I need to do the mining? Do I need to do the industry if I want to progress?
You don't need to, but you will happen to loot things. If you're a normal FPS player, just like shooting, killing, you will happen upon people and kill them and loot their stuff. And maybe you realize it's a pretty smart idea to actually invest a little bit of effort into this. It's not like a big old hard, difficult thing. It's just press button manufacture if you have a blueprint, and fitting obviously the weapons with stuff that you have. But will you be the best of the best without like investing in your progression and being able to switch ammo or have a better zoom on your scope or whatever? I don't know. It depends really on your quality. But like a top FPS player would win regardless. Like it's still a lot about skill.
Or know somebody who does. So I'm going to use Minecraft. Here we go. Minecraft is a bit of an analogy here. Me and my friend play a lot of Minecraft, but we play it very, very differently. He's a builder. He logs in at the stupid hours in the middle of the night, and he just crafts these crazy things. I just like going around and exploring, or just like doing a bit of mining here and there, or just running off into the distance. I am better at that because of the stuff that he's built for me.
Yeah.
So I'll come in and I'll log in on the server one day, and he's like, "Oh, there's loads of diamond armor in that chest for you. I got you." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. I didn't have to worry about that." And I'm like, "Brilliant." And now I'm running around and I don't have to worry about like dying so much. In Vanguard, that's kind of the same. Is you can lean into the resources and manufacturing and build out all of the stuff yourself. But sometimes if you don't want to, find someone who does or who can. Be that player on your team that's like, hey, I've built a shotgun for you. I'll carry it in and I'll drop it for you on our next deployment. Here's the shotgun. Right. And they're like, "Oh, brilliant." Like, "Oh, here's some more ammo." Like, or I'm the player who like, "Oh, I've just got no ammo left and I haven't got the resources." Don't worry. I'm sitting on so many resources because I decided to play at 2 a.m. and do nothing but mining for 3 hours.
Mhm.
I've got loads of ammo. Here you go.
Yeah.
So you will have to rely on like how you get better gear, how you grow in that power progression is linked to manufacturing. You can do it yourself or find that friend who is sitting on a crazy amount of resources that doesn't mind doing that for you. And I think that leans into that support play, right?
Yeah.
That like you just want to run around and shoot things. I like leaning into that industrial game. I've got you. I'm the one that's carrying the ammo. I'm going to supply you guys. Hey, here's a couple of mines.
But-
here's these things.
But if we take it away from the friend that just wants to play and kind of has identified that you're better
Mhm.
at this, and we look at this more from I'm in an MMO, I'm in a world. What's in it for the person that specializes in those things? If it's not part of a squad, I mean, are we working? Is everybody on the squad working towards the same contracts, or are they working towards the same?
That's
Goals.
looking forward. But obviously, we talked about social gameplay.
Mm.
We talked about corporations, guilds, what do you call it, bastions. The intent is obviously that we open up trade, common inventory, etc. between people who choose to affiliate with each other. It's absolutely part of the roadmap and the vision to build that. So we now just have the activity, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you could drop stuff into boxes for other people on the surface. So like we already have the ability to trade items and kind of supply others with your stuff. But I think there's a little bit of a like maybe something interesting to do is also just, but do you want to maybe try as an FPS like player? Do you want to try this stuff? Because it's kind of fun to when you start, it starts becoming like this is actually pretty interesting. And now you have like a little chase goal. This happened to me how many years ago? Merely 3 decades ago. I was playing Ultima Online. And I've always been a PvPer in every game. And I find myself in a mountain and I'm mining some ore. I think black silver was probably like a thing that I wanted. Like I wanted to have like and I started, and I just was consumed by having a full kit, full armor in this kind of same thing. So I was melting and I have a pack mule and I'm doing stuff like this. Go out and go into PvP, get stabbed by a poisonous scorpion and die immediately. Never used the armor or anything else, but like this is like probably my favorite moment of any MMO RPG was this kind of weird quest to go build my own armor and then die. But this is fun and it adds depth, and we have found in EVE that when you kind of broaden your horizons, you start doing a little bit of different things. You start socializing, you start doing stuff. Like lone wolfing sounds cool, fine, whatever. But it's also a little bit of a staple of an FPS because most of the FPS progression is just like kill stuff with this weapon until you get the scope that you like and the things that you like, and then you get another weapon and you kill stuff. What if you can just find the thing that you like and you get the blueprint for that and you make that blueprint and you kind of become self-sufficient by running that stuff? So if you want extended barrel and a silencer and like a 2x scope, you can just earn it and make sure that you always have enough of it, rather than grind through 47 weapons to a certain level so that you already have this. So we're kind of giving you a way to grind to your favorite play style or favorite weapon style by just like participating a little bit in the sandbox economy. And then you realize this is kind of fun, and like it opened up a lot of stuff. Like now I'm buying, like I'm making equipment, I'm leaning into this, etc. And all of a sudden, like you are way more invested in the world, and you like doing stuff, and you actually start working together.
The expeditions are going to help that as well. Like the expeditions lean into different ways of achieving things. So they branch out in different directions, and some are a bit more like, right, just go here and kill 5 of these guys or 12 of these guys, or go here and gather these resources, manufacture this thing. And you might be thinking, oh, I can probably get through the expedition by just, I am a hammer, everything is a nail. Or I can try the resource game. I can try manufacturing things now. I can lean into a bit more of that. I think the better player will always be doing both. But I think you can rely on that community feel, and especially for players that care about PvP. Insurgency very quickly, which is our 9v9 PvP mode, Insurgency very quickly turns into an arms race, right? It is people going down with their best gear, because you don't lose your gear in Insurgency. It is kind of a proving ground. Go through the game, gain that power, get the chipsets, manufacture what you want, and then take your best gear into Insurgency to see who's the best of the best. And you're coming up against players that have got fully kitted out weapons. And now that we've got multiple weapons as well, they're going to be coming down with more than one fully kitted out weapon. So it becomes a bit of an arms race. Not immediately. I'm not saying, it's just full of clubbing, but like it is competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And to be competitive, you have to go on that journey of that power.
And there's a meta, and there will be a meta. Yeah. And even if it's not a sync right now, if there's no loss in it, there's absolutely going to be a loss. But we want people to actually have something to kind of strive for during the event. So like go wild, try to get as many like powerful things or different chipsets, etc. Try them out. You won't lose them in the PvP mode. And this is also like a cheeky thing. Like we also want to see like what meta comes out, what needs to be balanced, etc. Mm-hmm. So like go wild, like duke it out, post your like most famous victories, like try to Q sync, get like 9 on the side to try to be on the, but like, game it, like try to win. Mm-hmm. Try really to be the best of the best if you want to like go there. But you're going to need equipment. You will not win 9 pros against another 9 pros bare naked versus like fully kitted. That's not going to happen. So go wild.
It sounds like also kind of something you'd always want in your survival games, where it's like, okay, I've got all this stuff now and I need to go do something. I don't want to bring this stuff there, but I'd love to have like a place. My Sunday fancy car I drive out when
but that's the elder game. Like that's the difference between an extraction shooter where you're like always worried and it's always going to be like a luck of the draw. This is different. This is taking all of that progression and applying it in a different direction against similar or like-minded people. And maybe we've removed some of the hardcore PvP sweaty playstyle out of the sandbox into that, because that's basically more competitive, more fun for that kind of playstyle.
And we won't stop there, right? We're always we don't want to be a single mode game, right? We don't want to be defined by one way of playing.
You're trying to tell me to mine, to do logistics, industry, and then go out and shoot people. It sounds like a lot of games.
And exactly, but we'll create different experiences like for that. Like we've got the sandbox that sits in the middle that you can do all of those things. We've got a specialized PvP deployment. Mm-hmm. We'll create a specialized mining deployment. Like, you won't all like there may be rare occurrences where a planet comes into view where you can deploy down to, and it's just a small map with very rare resources on it, and it's just about going there, getting your stuff and getting out. We could make PvE raids where it's just about a more single player experience where you and your squad are going in and completing something that's a bit more structured. We kind of want to have our cake and eat it here. We're being, the sandbox is the first thing that we've made and we're putting forwards, and there are extraction elements to that, and that will be at the core of player progression, but we will continue to keep making different experiences, different modes that always sit alongside that. We want this to be a theme park of shooting games. Every kind of mode that we've always really liked, and we can add to this. And we think that is really how an MMO works, right? You've got your raids, you've got your dungeons, you've got your general exploration, you've got your PvP. All of these things coexist in this arena. So people who like bits and pieces of that or this, they can go and do those things.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of self-description around people, for example, from EVE, even World of Warcraft, is that the MMO part is not just like I need to be with like 10,000 people all the time. It's the feeling of being in a world where other people are, but still doing your thing. Like it's not really the need to do something with another person like that drives the MMO. It's more like the illusion or the experience of like this is a full of life world where other people are, and that's interesting because like we maybe assume that everyone wants to be like social in an MMO multiplayer game. You just want to have other people around you because that like it's exciting or it just like feels comfortable or whatever. But then you like World of Warcraft shards itself out like doing all kinds of things, but like it's still a world. You feel like there's activity, there's humans around.
Yeah, a lot of games at the moment are this is quite funny. The peak of where they are multiplayer is when they're in the deployment and you're doing things. You're on a server with other players, but you come back to the front end and you're by yourself. It's very single player. You're doing the single player progression things. You're interacting with NPC, traders and stuff like that. And that's a traditional kind of extraction game. You look at games like Tarkov and you look at games like Ark Raiders. That's how it fits out.
You basically feel like you're just dropping in a lobby.
Yeah, we are flipping that. When you're on a server in a deployment is when you're going to be around the least amount of players. You're on a server with 21 other players. That is the least amount of players you will ever be around. It's when you come out of that deployment, you're now in a universe with, we one day hope millions of players. That is a multiplayer meta. You're not interacting with, just a single player type of progression. You are existing and being in a universe with everyone else. All of those planets, all of those, eventually bastions, that's not just sharded for you and your single player experience. That's the one bastion that everyone sees and everyone has access to. That trader, that manufacturing line, that friend that you're talking with, that leaderboard, all of these things are connected. And so you will be around the most amount of players when you're not in that deployment. And you don't get that in a lot of games at the moment. I think that's when what we're pushing for and why we keep wanting to call this an MMO and why we keep referring back to games like World of Warcraft and Ultima.
Yeah, we're all thinking about jumping around Ironforge or something like that.
Yes,
and
exactly.
that kind of
And some games have gotten quite close to this. Some games, Destiny is a great example of something that's got quite close to this, but it's never really felt like an MMO. It's just felt like it's a single player game that has other people in their own lanes, kind of doing their own thing.
But they're all the hero.
Yeah, but they're all the hero. We want to just make it's like one lane, it's one universe, it's one shard, like EVE Online. Everyone exists in the same space. If you see that planet turn from, let's say there's factional warfare happening, turn from one faction to another, that's not you saw it differently, I saw it differently, or I'm at a different point in the story, so I haven't seen that yet. It's like, nope, that's one universe. Everyone sees that turns over, and the consequences of that
impacts everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Super interesting chat, guys. I think we covered a lot of stuff.
We talked about weapons too much at the end. That was
we can bring it back a little bit. Like the great equalizer is the market. Like the assumption is always there's going to be a player market because there's enough loss in the system to make sure that we don't need to reset the economy. Like this is supposed to be an engine, just like the EVE economy that has faucets, has sinks.
Potentially connected to the EVE economy.
Potentially connected.
And it never resets.
So the important thing is that's even the fourth play style of the industrialist. There's the inventor, the blueprint researcher, the manufacturer, the hauler, and then the trader. So there's like these are non-combat things that people will be able to do.
Yep. Super interesting, guys. Operation Nemesis kicking off September 16th. It's coming, guys. It's coming. Can't wait.
Yep.
Awesome.
See you there.